And bear with me. On the morning of January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. 73 seconds later, millions watched on television as a rocket disintegrated into a fiery explosion. The death of all 7 crew members shocked the nation. As they learned in the months that followed, the tragedy could have and should have been avoided. President Reagan immediately appointed a commission to determine the probable causes of the accident. The Presidential Commission identified the primary cause of the accident as a failure in the joint between 2 stages of the rocket that allowed hot gases to escape during the burn. The average citizen could understand the mechanics of a commission's finding. After all, everyone knows what happens when you pour gasoline on an open flame. What people found difficult to fathom was why NASA had launched the Challenger when there was good reason to believe the condition wasn't safe. In addition to the defective seal, the Commission also concluded that a highly flawed decision process was an important contributing cause of the disaster. Communication, as well as combustion, was responsible for the tragedy. As the person in charge of the Flight Readiness Review for NASA, Jesse Moore had the ultimate authority to approve or scrub the shuttle mission. He relied on the assessment of managers at the Kennedy, Johnson, and Marshall Space Centers, who in turn consulted with engineers from the companies that designed the Challenger subsystems. The day before the launch, Morton Thiokol engineers warned that the flight might be risky. As the team responsible for the performance of the rocket booster, they worried about the below-freezing temperature that was forecast in the morning launch. When Space Center directors later certified that the Challenger was flight-ready, they never mentioned any concern about the O-rings. Jesse Moore had every reason to believe the shuttle was A-OK. Irving Janis, Yale's social psychologist, was fascinated with the question of how an acknowledged group of experts could make such a terrible decision. He was convinced that the grievous error wasn't an isolated incident limited to NASA. He believed he could spot the same group dynamic at work in other tragic decisions. Janis didn't regard chief executives or advisors as stupid, lazy, or evil. Rather, he saw them as victims of groupthink. Janis originally defined groupthink as a mode of thinking that people engage in when they are deeply involved in a cohesive in-group, when the members' strivings for unanimity override their motivation to realistically appraise alternative courses of action. According to his definition, groupthink occurs only when cohesiveness is high. It requires that members share a strong we feeling of solidarity and desire to maintain relationships within the group at all costs. Janis pictured this group as having a warm, clubby atmosphere. This description captures the image of a minority businessman had in mind when a friend asked him what clubs he would like to join when racial integration became a reality. His answer, only one. I'd like to be part of the good old boys club. That's where the insider deals are made. Janis consistently held that the superglue of solidarity that bonds people together often causes their mental processes to get stuck. The more amiability and esprit de corps among members of the policy-making in-group, the greater is the danger that independent critical thinking will be replaced by groupthink. Janis was convinced that the concurrence-seeking tendency of close-knit groups can cause them to make inferior decisions. I'll wrap this up. There's 8 symptoms of groupthink: illusions of invulnerability, belief in inherent morality of the group, collective rationalization, out-group stereotypes or us versus them, self-censorship, illusion of unanimity, direct pressure on dissenters, and self-appointed mind guards. What City Council, City Management are engaged in right now is a perfect example of groupthink. It's a textbook definition of it. Not once since this VRD discussion began has one member of City Council ever asked if it was needed. No member of council asked for a definition of the problem. No member of City Council questioned the upfront expense or the long-term economic impact. No member of City Council demanded the voices of the consensus group be heard. No member of City Council has been outraged at the seemingly endless and vague excuses given for the proposed changes, all because they want to maintain harmony within the group. I'm asking you here one more time, just as the engineers did, don't launch this. Think and act as individuals. Don't feel pressured by any member of council. This disaster can be avoided.